Hey, I'm Zach Steele. This is Tyler Hobart. We'll just bring you guys the Week 10 start sit video. We'll show our rankings, and then we're just going to go through like the top five of each position, and then we'll each talk about one or two players that we think, even though they're not ranked super high, should be poised for a really good week this
Hmm.
week.
Sounds
So
good.
starting us off with Russell Wilson at quarterback one. You guys know how bad their defense is. They're going to give up a lot of points. Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde have just been ruled out, so they're not going to have a running game again this week, so it's going to be all up to Russell to put up the 40 points they're going to need to win, and Russell might be able to do it. So he could easily have a 400-yard, four passing touchdown game, and nobody's going to be surprised.
Hmm. So we have Kyler Murray as quarterback two this week. I think that's pretty likely as Murray's been an incredible dual threat. Him and Russell have put up the most fantasy points this year. I believe Kyler's actually ahead of him now. So I don't expect that to slow down against the Bills defense that Russell just tore apart. So Kyler Murray is really poised for another big week.
Yep. So then in the same game, we've got Josh Allen at quarterback three. Um, he's a very talented quarterback. He's got a healthy John Brown back, which has been huge for him throughout the season. If you look at his games with or without him, there's a really massive difference. This game is poised to be a shootout. Josh Allen or Kyler Murray could easily be the quarterback one this week, and you've just got to start Josh Allen if you have him.
Hmm. So next we got Aaron Rodgers on here, quarterback four. They play just a disastrous Jacksonville defense, so expect Aaron Rodgers to have a huge game against them, and you can be confident starting him as a quarterback one.
Yep, I agree. And then we've got Deshaun Watson in our quarterback five. It should be really windy that game, which isn't something you like, but he's been great since Bill O'Brien's been out. David Johnson's out, but that doesn't really hurt them, in my opinion. I don't think Duke Johnson's much of a downgrade. He's really starting to develop
Hmm.
chemistry with his three receivers, Fuller, Cooks, and Cobb. Um, and they're playing a Cleveland defense that doesn't scare you. They're 22nd against the pass, I believe, so he should be poised for a good week.
Hmm.
And then, do you have anybody you want to touch on outside of these top guys?
Yeah, I think if you have Justin Herbert, you keep rolling him out there, and then I also like Jared Goff this week. We have him at quarterback six. Well, seven, both average. He just plays Seattle's defense, and so Goff's quite familiar with their offense and defense. So I think they're just going. He's going to tear them apart, and so if you have him, he's a nice streaming option. If you don't have one of these top five quarterbacks.
I agree. And then just if we're looking deeper, I actually like this game between the Broncos and Raiders. I think Drew Lock and Derek Carr could really both put up some big numbers. Neither one of these defenses is spectacular, and the Broncos are really a pass funnel, so it could be a really pass-heavy game, and they could both have good weeks.
Hmm.
So moving on to running back, Tyler and I both put Aaron Jones as our RB1 this week. They play the Jacksonville Jaguars in a really windy game, so you think they'll really want to control the ball on the ground. Aaron Jones is really talented out of the backfield as receiver as well. Jaguars defense is really bad at pretty much everything, so Aaron Jones should be poised for a great week.
Hmm. Next, we got Alvin Kamara. We have him at running back two. He's been one of the best running backs in fantasy so far this year, and expect him to tear up that injured San Francisco defense. So, um, play him if you have him. Expect another big week out of Alvin Kamara.
I agree. And then Dalvin Cook, same thing. He's been absolutely on fire the last couple of weeks. I believe he's RB1 in the season despite missing a game and having
Easy.
his bye already. Um, so you got to play Dalvin Cook if you have him. I had to temper expectations a little bit this week against a tough Bears defense, but he's Dalvin Cook. He could still have a great week, and he could easily be the RB1 again this week.
Hmm. So James Robinson's really been a. We think he's a running back one. We have a running back four this week. Uh, I expect him to tear up Green Bay's defense in a game where they're really going to be looking to keep passes short and run the ball quite a lot. I expect James Robinson to just run away with this game for the Jacksonville Jaguars offense at least.
I agree. And then we got Miles Sanders at RB5. It's his first week back from an injury. They play a Giants defense that doesn't scare you. He's truly an elite running back. Talent-wise, he's going to get the ball out of the backfield as a receiver. He's going to get 20 carries. He's poised for a really big game.
Hmm. And so outside of our top five, so we know we have Chris Carson ranked, but he's just been ruled out. So I think if you have a DJ Dallas, and same if you have Gio Nami Bernard, because Mixon's out, both those guys and DJ and Gio, I think are great streaming options that can get you some potential running back one production for much less if you're able to snag those backups.
I agree. And then if we're going to go a little bit deeper, J.D. McKissick has been elite the couple games that Alex Smith has been at quarterback. Alex Smith loves to dump it down to his running backs, and for some reason they're using McKissick as the pass catching back over Gibson. So McKissick could be
Hmm.
poised to put up a really huge week. I want to say he was like RB4 or 5 last week, but RBs were really bad this last week. Um, and then one other guy that I think even deeper you could start is Zach Moss. He's had over 10 points
Hmm.
in 4 of the 6 games he's played this season, and one of them he left with an injury. And the Cardinals' defense isn't one that scares you, and he's the guy that they're going to give the ball when they get down close, so he could easily have a 2 touchdown game again this week.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
So then at receiver, obviously our number one, this was kind of a no-brainer. We got Devontae Adams. Even with the wind in that game, we're not scared of it. Aaron Rodgers performs well in weather, and Devontae Adams is just clearly the only receiver that Rodgers wants to look at in that offense right now, and it's against the Jaguars defense that can't stop anybody.
Hmm. And next, so no surprise, we got Stephon Diggs here. He's been incredible so far this year, and I don't expect him to slow down at all against Arizona. What could be a fantastic shootout, and Diggs and Allen have had a fantastic connection so far this year. And so I think if you have Diggs, you can be really confident in playing him this week as your wide receiver too.
I agree. So we've got DK Metcalf also as wide receiver three, um, or as our wide receiver three, not a. They play the Rams in what should be a really high scoring affair. It's come out that Jalen Ramsey won't be shadowing Metcalf, which will help alleviate any concerns you had. But he's absolutely burned Stephon Gilmore and Tre'Davious White this season. I think he's proved
Yeah.
he's matchup proof. Russell Wilson's going to throw the ball a ton. Metcalf's going to get his, and he could easily have a 2 touchdown, 150-yard receiving game any week. So you've got to start him.
Hmm. So Keenan Allen has been fantastic this season. We have him as wide receiver four. I don't think him and Herbert slow down at all really against Miami. I believe I saw a stat recently, it's pretty wild. He has like 81 targets on the year and one drop. So I
Mm-hmm.
think for a rookie quarterback, he loves Keenan Allen and you can depend on playing him as well.
Yep. And then lastly, inside our top five, we've got DeAndre Hopkins. We've already touched on how high scoring we expect that game to be. As you see, Stephon Diggs is our wide receiver too. Um, Hopkins is clearly the best receiver in Arizona. He's probably the best receiver in that game. And Kyler Murray's throwing the ball around a lot. I know Hopkins has been a little disappointing with the emergence of Christian Kirk the last several weeks, but you've got to start DeAndre Hopkins, and he could easily have a huge game this week.
Hmm. And so, well outside of our top five are the Rams wide receivers, Seahawks defense. So I think they have an outside shot to sneak into this top five if Seattle's defense continues to get burned pretty badly.
Yep. And then a little bit deeper, Christian Kirk and John Brown. They're in that same game we've highlighted a lot between the Buffalo Bills and Arizona Cardinals. I think that game's going to be a really high scoring game, and I won't be shocked if one of these guys or both of them reels in a big touchdown. They're both deep threats for their teams, and both of them have emerged last week. Christian Kirk actually the last three, but John Brown's healthy now, and they could both have great weeks.
Hmm.
All right. So then at tight end, our number one this week with Kelsey and Kittle gone is Darren Waller. They play the Broncos, who don't really scare you as a pass defense. He's one of the few tight ends that's consistently producing, and if you have him, you're starting him.
Yep, and then you got T.J. Hawkinson. After Waller, it gets a little sad, but Hawkinson's been good this year, so I think you can confident playing him against the Washington football team. And so if you don't have Waller, basically Hawkinson's the next best thing for you this week.
Yeah, and really outside of those top two, it gets really hairy. But at number three here, we've got Noah Fant. He's really talented, and he's just had a hard time staying healthy, but he should be healthy this week against a defense that doesn't scare you in the Raiders. And Drew Lock likes to look his way. He has a lot with the ball in his hands after the catch, so he could have a big week this week.
Hmm. And so Evan Ingram, I like a lot this week as well. They get a pretty terrible against the tight end defense in Philadelphia, and so I think Daniel Jones will find him a lot. And if you have him, he can get you some respectable point totals at the tight end position.
Yeah, and then we got Austin Hooper at tight end five, and this is his first week coming back from appendicitis, and then they're bye. But he was starting to get a lot of targets. They paid him a lot of money, so they clearly want to use him in the offense. He's playing like 85% of the snaps and running routes and like 80% of Baker's dropbacks. So that's great. You don't want your tight end blocking. Um, and they play a Texans defense that's not very good. So he could easily have a big game this week. We haven't seen him on the off in that offense without Odell out there, but who knows? Maybe Hooper's the number one in that offense now. So
Hmm. And so outside of that, I'd say you could hopefully look for some value in Eric Ebron and Goddard. They get pretty nice matchups, and are their quarterbacks. I think we'll find them a few times this week. So if you can pick up, or if you have one of those guys on your bench, I think especially Eric Ebron could have a better week against a poor Cincinnati defense.
I agree. And then even deeper, we've got Kyle Rudolph here at tight end 18, but the Vikings have just declared Irv Smith is out for Monday's game. So
Mhm.
they've been pretty much splitting targets up to this point. So when you
Yeah.
should see a big jump in targets this game. I know the Bears defense isn't one you're happy about, but Rudolph's a capable tight end. He could easily have a decent week for you if you're desperate.
Yep.
Cool. So that'll be it. If you guys have any start sit questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you before 1 o'clock games tomorrow. If you like this video and you want more stuff like this, we do a waiver video, a trade video, and start sit video every week. So please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you get a notification when we upload. Thanks, guys.